This is just the first step, it feels like, to many more rights being taken away.
Right now, after the game, Las Vegas locals making their voices heard on abortion following the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. How people are feeling about that move.
And Governor Steve Sisolak addressing that decision from the Supreme Court, what he said during a press conference earlier today, and where he stands on what was decided.
Plus, a huge question here in Nevada. How does this impact us? We take a look at the current state of law and what that could change as well. More on that story later in this newscast. Well, a monumental and historic decision from the Supreme Court today, deciding to overturn Roe versus Wade. Hello, and thanks for joining us live after the game. I'm Dave Courvoisier.
And I'm Paulina Butska. Trisha Keene has the night off. The 5-4 decision is considered the most consequential Supreme Court decision in decades. The action transforms the landscape of women's reproductive health right here in America. From now on, unless Congress acts, abortion rights will be determined by states. Already, nearly half of states have or say they will pass laws banning abortion. A number of other states have put measures in place to regulate or limit the procedure.
And this move leading to plenty of concern, some celebrations and protests around the country and right here in Las Vegas. Multiple protests were held in the city, including right outside City Hall this evening. The demonstration was put on by the group We Won't Go Back. Now, I was out there earlier this evening, and I talked with a local mother who was out there, too, with her daughter to make their voices heard. We just wanted to talk to you about why you were here tonight to support this rally.
I'm here tonight because I'm very upset by the ruling. Even though it's not going to impact me personally, I'm really just want to be here for my daughter and her generation, because I truly feel like our generation's going, or this country's going backwards.
Did you have a talk with her before coming down here?
Yes, I did.
What did you say?
I explained to her what happened today, how that may impact her in the future, and how it impacts people who live in other states, even though our rights are protected here in Nevada.
This wrapped up around 7 o'clock as many of them made their way to other demonstrations.
And we have team coverage tonight on this major story. Let's start with reporter Jeremy Chen, who is going live from City Hall where protests were held, and he explains the current law right here in Nevada. Jeremy.
Yeah, Paulina, earlier, a few hours ago, rather, in front of City Hall, there were several dozen people out here making their voices heard for abortion rights. A lot of them chanting, decrying this decision from the Supreme Court of the United States, overturning Roe v. Wade. Some of them holding signs saying to codify Roe. Well, here in Nevada, that law is actually codified within the state of Nevada, as it will be difficult to overturn without voters weighing in. However, the question remains now, will there be a change coming in the long term? The seismic shift of the United States Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade generating frustration.
I'm utterly disappointed and frankly frightened at what's next.
But also elation.
The Supreme Court has finally realized that there is no right to abortion in the U.S. Constitution.
Access to abortion is protected under state law in Nevada. Voters in 1990, by a nearly two-thirds margin, approved the law to allow abortions up to 24 weeks. UNLV political science professor Rebecca Gill says the legal impact of the High Court's decision for Nevadans is minimal. Gill says neither the governor or our state legislature can overturn the law.
They are likely to sort of weather the storm of the kind of swings back and forth in regular partisan politics.
Professor Gill says actually changing the law faces many hurdles. Voters would have to agree to do so over the course of 2 consecutive election cycles.
So this would be another ballot measure, and it would take a significant amount of time. And it would have to go to the legislature more than once.
Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford says his office is committed to protecting abortion access, but believes there could be a push for restrictions at the margins.
What can happen is that they can whittle away at it. They can, mess around the curves of the right. They can put prohibitions on certain activities. They lead up to an abortion.
The pro-life group Right to Life Nevada welcomed the Supreme Court decision, saying this sends the question of abortion access back to the states. Director Melissa Clement acknowledges the validity of current state law on the issue, but will continue to target modifications such as parental notification.
There's a huge loophole in Nevada law that allows an underage girl to get an abortion without even one parent knowing. We've been trying to change this for years, and that's what we will continue to focus on.
Now, recent polling here in Nevada shows that people's views on abortion haven't really changed much when they made that 1990 decision, with 2/3 of people surveyed saying they consider themselves, quote, pro-choice. Now, let's send things over to my colleague Sean Delancey, who's live over at the federal courthouse in downtown where another protest is happening. How are things going, Sean?
Yeah, Jeremy, that protest has not just been contained to the Lloyd D. George Federal Courthouse. The protesters in the hundreds have been out here on the streets for hours. You can actually see a group of stragglers just in the street there, and they have been screaming of our body, our choice. Abortion is health care. Things that I cannot repeat on television. Several protesters that I've talked with say hope a watershed, waking up a lethargic movement that has for years advocated for the right to choose abortion that haven't been as loud as the pro-life movement's steady march towards this moment. Some are sad, some are angry, some feel defeated.
I would love to see it go back in my lifetime or my daughter's lifetime.
Do you expect it to?
No. I think we have now made a bed and we have to figure out how to get out of it.
Now, others have seen this as a call to action to actually get out and vote during the midterms. You're going to be hearing from them coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. But for right now, in Las Vegas, I'm Sean Delancey.
Thank you. And earlier today, Governor Steve Sisolak standing before all media outlets expressing his concerns and promise to Nevada families. Take a listen.
While Roe v. Wade made abortion legal, it never made abortion accessible.
Still reeling from the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, one by one, speakers, pro-choice advocates, and lawmakers took to the podium, vowing their support and fighting to regain what they say are women's fundamental rights.
Our right to an abortion and bodily autonomy is not up for debate. Abortion is a fundamental human right.
Governor Steve Sisolak among the speakers, taking a personal approach.
I want to reassure you, and not only my daughters, I want to reassure them, but for all women, everyone seeking reproductive health care, I will not stand by and let this outdated idea that women can't make the right decisions for their own bodies to take over our lives.
Vowing his loyalty to women during his tenure.
Politicians should never have a say when it comes to the personal decision of when or if to start a family. As long as I'm governor, I'll keep it that way.
The event today organized by Planned Parenthood. Local director Brianna Escamilla says today's ruling will leave a lasting impact on Nevadans, straining our healthcare system.
Access to care is already difficult, especially for communities of color, rural and indigenous communities, poor communities. It is still difficult to access abortion care. And if you add that to the fact that people are going to be coming in from other states like Arizona and Utah and Idaho and Texas to access the care that they need, that's going to put a huge drain on our healthcare system and make it even harder for Nevadans to achieve that care.
And Joe Lombardo, who is running for governor, released a statement on the decision from the Supreme Court. He posted it on Twitter, and it read in part, quote, "This morning, the United States Supreme Court rightfully returned the power to the people and their elected state representatives. I'm Catholic and pro-life, and I believe that most Nevadans, no matter what their personal background is, agree with me and want fewer abortions, not more," end quote.
And the impact for this decision will be felt throughout the different age groups around the country.
Reporter Alicia Patillo talked to 3 different generations of women and has their reaction.
It's a decision most people say they saw coming, but here in our valley, this ruling will affect generations past and those to come. From Generation Z.
It's not fair, it's not moral, it's not right.
To young moms.
My daughter, my nieces don't have the same rights they did yesterday.
And even grandmothers like Jerry Burton.
I was with my grandson when I heard, and he said, "Grandma, what's so upsetting?" And and I said, Grandma works for equal rights for women, and it just got taken away.
Women across the Las Vegas Valley feeling the weight of the decision to overturn Roe versus Wade, a ruling that says women no longer have a federal constitution right to an abortion and shifts the issue of abortion rights to each state. Burton is with the National Organization of Women Nevada and describes herself as a longtime fighter for the equal rights of women. She says America has taken a step backwards.
If you don't have rights to your own body, then you don't have equal rights.
Laura Campbell, a mom of two, grew emotional after learning several states have already begun to ban abortions. Campbell wants Nevada to continue to stand strong.
Nevada is safe right now, but we are so close to us turning into Texas. And I know that sounds very like it couldn't happen, but it can.
While abortion rights are guaranteed by Nevada state law, 24-year-old Jasmine Bess is still thinking about her future and how that might look if she doesn't have the right to choose.
Like, I have a plan for myself, and I feel like if there's a right taken away, I won't be able to plan for myself. I won't be able to have those options, and that's just, that I don't feel like that's right. So.
The National Organization for Women Nevada says they plan to keep fighting and advocating for women everywhere. Near Charleston and Valley View, I'm Alicia Patillo reporting.
And our coverage on the decision to overturn Roe versus Wade will continue later in this newscast. We will look at the impact it will have on abortion clinics. That and more in our second half hour.
And coming up on this special edition of 13 Action News, finding success when it comes to rest and relaxation. How a Nevada-built company is booming, not only in the Valley, but around the world.
Plus, traveling to Europe is going to take an extra step in the near future, where the countries of the European Union will be requiring for you to visit. Danny?
The radar drying out today, but temperatures really heating up from here. What to plan on this weekend in the 13 First Alert forecast.